What were some "I can't believe I'm getting paid for this" moments at your job? Client wanted to do a small tenant improvement to their existing office space and had existing PDF drawings of the office building, floor plans, cross-sections etc. I quoted the client $2,000 for architectural permit plans, which would include redrawing the existing PDFs in AutoCAD and then drawing the proposed plans. Before I started the task of redrawing the PDFs, I had the idea. I Google searched PDF to DWG converter. To my surprise, there were many softwares that did this type of conversion. I managed to finish the entire project in about 5 hours. If you're using AutoCAD, attach the PDF to your DWG and use the PDF import command. It can convert the PDF into line work within your drawing. It doesn't work the best with hatching/text, but it works well enough and can even import items into the right layers. I imported a floor plan once from PDF, and it actually created an A-walls layer with all the appropriate line work already assigned to it, so you might not even need third-party software, free or otherwise. I'm assuming this is a feature in the more recent versions of AutoCAD. I've been using 2014 since its release and it doesn't seem to have this option. Nevertheless, thanks for the info. Might be time to upgrade. Smile. I lifeguarded for 3 years, so a lot. When it gets rainy and everyone leaves the pool, they normally keep us around just in case it clears up. We watch TV and raid the snack bar. We play in the pool sometimes and blast music on the speakers. Having a party with a bunch of cute girl lifeguards while getting paid by the hour equals not a bad gig. Can confirm currently at work as lifeguard. Edit, no, I am not on stand. When there's conferences in really nice or fun locations. It really struck me the first couple conferences I went to. So you're sending me to New Orleans/Miami/Hong Kong/London, and I get my normal pay. You're paying for travel and a nice hotel, and I get per diem? I was a photojournalist. Getting paid to sit on the sidelines of major sporting matches, at the sound desk or in the pit of bands from AC/DC to ZZ Top. Meet all sorts of interesting people and create a photo to help tell their story. I photographed John Cleese during a sound check. He went on a 20-minute rant about photographers. I had to ask him to stop as I was laughing so hard I couldn't take pictures. Met Jackie Stewart and heard him speak about his time as a Formula One driver. It was an amazing job, and one I was very lucky to do for as long as I did. Some days I would think some people would pay to be able to do this. There were crap days too. Sitting in the hot sun at a murder scene all day, watching police bag evidence sucks, as does attending car crashes in the middle of the night, in the rain. But I remember the good days better than the bad ones. I covered 2 presidential elections, multiple natural disasters, and countless sporting events. I miss it, but I look at what journalism is now and then I quickly feel grateful that I'm not involved with that anymore. I'm not a journalist. What's different about journalism then and now? Working in IT, getting paid to be a professional Googler basically. I'm not an expert, I just Google at a higher level. Anytime a client takes me out for lunch or invites me to a golf or shooting tourney. But the craziest for me was when I was taken to a 4-hour lunch to a high-end steakhouse on Warren Buffett's credit card. That was pretty dope. What industry do you work in? Finance? Well, I do math for a living, but I am actually in the construction industry. I'm doing a project right now that a drunk monkey could do with his hands tied behind his back. Microsoft Excel copy-paste, beep boop beep. Used to work at a video store in college. Literally got paid to watch movies and do homework. Minimum wage, but hey, I got paid to study. This was the last video store I owned, so it was usually extremely dead. I write smut for a living. Every now and then, I write a line or get an idea for a story that's so ridiculously over the top that I genuinely have to take a step away from my laptop for a second and question exactly how it is this became my life. My personal favorite is the very nice email I got from someone who wanted me to commission me to write a story about him being sounded by a Hot Wheels car. He wanted the first half of the story to be about the car stretching out his urethra as it went in great detail. and the second half to be about the damage the car's wing mirrors did to his pee hole as it came out. I politely declined. I also love my job, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't want to do anything else. It's just fucking odd sometimes. So I just have a question, how does one get into this business? Are you writing books, and people commission you? I am so curious. I sometimes use Paint to alter screenshots of a technical drawings which I then paste into PowerPoint to add annotations and then print the whole thing into monochrome PDF. And you best believe we're changing big money for all of this. Also, we print every email. That last sentence hurt me and the planet. Not my choice, not my say. I wish we didn't frown. I used to make video content for social media to drive ticket sales for a major arts festival. I would go to the tech rehearsal for major operas, plays, ballet etc. There would be the full cast and orchestra performing as if they were playing to a full house, but it was just me and my camera. I could move around to get the right shot. I could go backstage and interview the performers and whoever else was in my brief to talk to. I got to tour around with an opera once. I have no background in this. I'm completely self-taught and had only done really pedestrian jobs before this. It was amazing. I never would have wanted to go to an opera or ballet before this came along. If you ever have the chance to see something like this, go. It's not as boring as you think it will be. This sounds amazing. How did you get that work? I once worked as a graphic designer for a well-known website/Facebook page about movies/series/video games/music, and sometimes I had to do very poor photo edits, like pasting a famous actor's head on the body of a cartoon character to illustrate the fact that this character will have this famous actor's voice in this movie. Or things like that. I was asked to do the shittiest edit possible to make the post funny. Yeah, for a while I was graphic designer at a now defunct culture/politics blog with an intentionally crude and immature editorial voice. I definitely photoshopped Ben Carson lovingly cradling an infant with a Hitler mustache after he said he wouldn't abort baby Hitler. So you were basically paid to be a Redditor? I'm a waiter, and if there's a mistake or a takeaway no-show we get to eat it. Often we get paid to stand around and smear pizza edit. Wow. So obviously smear was supposed to be eat. Just wow. On your. Mine are all pretty minor, but this is my favorite. Marketing has Macs. There's a recall on a battery for the MacBook one guy has. In theory, I could have mailed it straight to Apple and they would mail it back, but instead I drove 30 minutes south to a computer store that would mail it for me. I ate Mexican food. I drove back. And then a week or so later, I drove down and picked it up. I did not eat Mexican because the call came in late Friday and I had already eaten. I got paid 2 hours plus mileage plus 1 lunch to deliver someone's MacBook to a store because they're too busy and important to do it themselves. And I am perfectly okay with that. Not at my job, but I was once in a documentary of the miners' strike. I got paid to spend a weekend throwing fake rocks at fake cops, shouting at them. It was so much fun. I lucked my way into a test for a soon-to-open psychiatric hospital for criminals. Basically we had to make as much trouble as we could and try to break out. Then report back the flaws we found. Man, that was a fun day. That sounds amazing. Expos. They bought my department first-class high-speed train tickets to get there, paid all food, rooms, etc. and let us wander around and see all the technology and innovations. Every customer or supplier of ours waved us into their booth, gave us beer, food, and free swag. After the expo, there was a company party on the expo floor in our booth, free food, booze, and seeing probably 90% of senior staff of our company completely hammered. Aside from that, as a recent grad who had previously only had temp and part-time jobs, I'm still amazed I have paid vacation, and a lot of it at that. Literally 70% of my time at work is spent sitting at my desk bullshitting around. Pretty much that. I'm a programmer. During less busy periods, I literally get paid to sit on Reddit. I probably spend an hour or 2 a day playing Overwatch, a match at a time, while thinking about how to do stuff or watching a pipeline build in the background. It works out especially well, because most of the builds take 10 minutes, which is almost perfect for the average match. That doesn't count my Reddit time, but some of that is also professional in nature. I had to broadcast 2 minutes of silence on Armistice Day. I worked in local radio. The presenter sent me out in the radio car as he wanted silence from the locality. In fact, he wanted silence from the highest point in the county. I drove up the highest hill and unwound my cable to the peak. Sadly, the silence was too quiet and the transmitters started shutting down. So he had to mix in more silence from another radio station. That was the stupidest job I ever did, and I did plenty. Worked retail and had to sticker hundreds of items of clothing with little black sale stickers. Just as I'm finishing up, I was told they changed their mind and wanted me to use red stickers instead. So I went back over every item with red stickers. It was also a public holiday in Australia, so I was paid 2.5x my average pay, and spent 6 hours of my shift doing just that. Thanks God people are different in this regard. I think I'd go mental after an hour of applying stickers. Not when you're getting $60+ per hour to do it. Literally sitting there for 4 hours because the power went out. We were instructed to just stay in the break room. Boss ran to town and bought us pizza and we just hung out with some flashlights for light bullshitting and fucking around. We were making close to $20 an hour, so that was the easiest money I've ever made. We worked our ass off though because our boss treated us so good. Also, I love pooping on company time, because fuck my current job. I'll sit in there for 20 minutes if I want. I used to get paid to hack into companies' networks. For the longest time it was my I can't believe I get to do this legally and get paid stupid amounts of money for it. Then it just started pissing me off when I realized all the company's network security suck. Many were hiring me for a compliance checkbox, and when I'd come back the following year they hadn't done anything, in some cases not even changed the damn passwords I used from the year prior. I now maintain a large list of companies I will never do business with using any type of credit card because I'm 110% positive it will be compromised if it hasn't been already. This seems like the digital version of I worked at this restaurant, and after seeing how they make their food I will never eat there again. I feel it's more akin to a health inspector who doesn't actually have the ability to shut anyone down. He's pointed out the things that need to be fixed but they never did anything by the time the next inspection came around. I had to rub oil on a model's leg for a photo shoot. It was a positive I can't believe I'm getting paid for this. Only one leg? It was the middle leg. Probably the opposite end of the spectrum than intended, but I work as a professional photo retoucher for a mid-sized e-commerce site that focuses on women's clothing. So one day I was going through and editing lookbook images, meaning we outsourced a photographer, got a more expensive model, and shot on location, and in order to know which images we have a spreadsheet which gives me an image number, a deadline, and editing notes which is something specific they want done to the image. This is where things getting interesting. I'm working my way through all of my edits when I come to an image number with a single editing note, remove horse genitals. Of course I think it's odd and kinda funny, but only expect to maybe have to remove a couple equine testes. So I open the image, the model in a field sporting a yellow fluffy coat walking a horse by the reins, and a massive, fully unsheathed, red rocket hanging low. As I spent the next 5 minutes gingerly and artfully making sure this penis doesn't make it to the public, I couldn't help but keep asking myself how TF am being paid to Photoshop away a horse's dick. Edit. Wow, my most upvoted comment ever is about a horse penis. Guess I'm the horse cock guy now. Sounds like an honest product review, could have left it in. This coat is sure to get a rise out of the stud in your life. It'll have all the stallions saying hey. I work 8 hours a day. I actually work 20 minutes to a half hour of that. I read Reddit most of the day. I had a desk job like that once. Actual work was 5 hours total. The rest of the 35 was doing whatever I wanted. It's nice, but can be draining. I have to commute about 45 minutes each way, So I end up thinking a lot about stuff I could be doing elsewhere. I like to text friends all day, but can't understand that they are actually busy at their jobs and can't keep up with me. Falling down a good internet rabbit hole helps, as does getting paid more than I should. Right fucking now, I work in a call center for a government body here in the UK. Since February, I've been paid £12 an hour to fucking sit here and do fuck all. I have taken personally, myself, since February, 6 calls. But shit, I am bored. That's the worst part about having a job with so much downtime, the boredom. Sure, I enjoy getting paid to sit on my ass and do nothing but scroll on my phone and listen to podcasts, but my brain is rotting. Lol. Correct, you feel like you should be grateful about it, but you get so bored sometimes. But then I think that if the calls started flooding in, I'd fucking hate it also, so what can you do, haha. A positive one. I get to teach kids how to play Dungeons and Dragons for 6 weeks every summer. Rolling into work dressed in an elf princess costume and getting to play a game for 7 hours a day, it feels unreal. I'm still incredulous every time that direct deposit hits. Also, as to how I got the job, it honestly just fell into my lap totally out of nowhere. Last year the teacher quit 2 months before camp started. One of the directors is my so's dad and I was living with them at the time. One director called the other to tell him the bad news and figure out what they were going to do. I was depressed on the couch because I'd been out of a job and having a hell of a time getting a new one. He came to me as they were on the phone talking about the situation, trying to find another teacher, and asked me if I wanted a job teaching D&D. I said yes, and now they keep telling me I'm one of the best teachers they've ever had and definitely the best D&D instructor. I'm hoping to be with the camp for many years to come like many of the other teachers, smiley face. Oh, this is a thing? My youngest, 8, really wants to play more D&D and I'd like him to play around his age group. I've been looking for summer camps like this. Without doxing yourself, is there any additional details you can give? DM is fine too. Admittedly at this point ITDB after school D. My old job deliberately gave us downtime when work was slow and wouldn't give us more to do till like 3. So me and my co-workers downloaded Left 4 Dead and played co-op lol, but then the bosses were mad we had so much free time, like WTF, you're the ones who decided to make it like this. Yay, the bosses don't necessarily care what you do as long as it doesn't look bad on them. Playing video games could certainly make it look bad on your boss if their boss showed up. The last few places I've worked have various levels of work from home. There's the I'm be at the beach and have my laptop WFH, and the I'll be dialing into these 5 meetings WFH. As long as you got stuff done when it was needed to be done, they'd say just WFH next week and get this done, and that's about it until the following week. Oh hey, I can answer this one. I'm a dog trainer and we help dogs that are reactive to other dogs when on leash, i.e., barking/lunge at dogs when on walks, and one of the ways we do this is to drag a stuffed dog around, looks realistic, at a distance. You even talk to the stuffed dog, pet it, and pretend to feed it. All of this is happening while another trainer feeds the real dog anytime they see the fake dog. I've legit been asked if I'm crazy before until people figure out we are training a dog. Edit. Wow. This is my most popular comment to date. For those wondering what this is, it is a form of behavior modification. To find trainers who do stuff like this, try searching for trainers, remote or in person, certified through the Academy for Dog Trainers. I am certified through this organization and we get a very heavy dose of behavior modification for this stuff. Make sure the trainers are force-free and positive and that they never punish a dog for reacting. The latter will never help and will only make things worse. This is the problem I have with my dog. Anytime she's on leash and sees another dog, she'll bark and lunge towards them even if they're across the street. Do you have any tips on curbing this behavior? Yep. Find out why she's doing it and address the cause. Avoid getting into these situations until you can start training, or you teach your dog to get even better at reacting. Distance is your friend. Do not attempt to camouflage the dog's reactions by not letting it react. You want her to feel okay about other dogs, not still feeling whatever causes her to lunge but unable to express it, and maybe eventually lose control and bite. In a past job, albeit a low-paid one, I got to help raise a baby sea otter, and one day I had the task of combing and fluffing up her fur to keep her waterproof and help her float. I was literally being paid to groom an adorable baby otter. I want a job sitting at home petting my bunnies. Thank you for inspiring me to reach for my dreams. You could look at starting a non-profit for showing therapy bunnies. Or get Angora rabbits and collect the fuzzies to sell. Anytime I dog sit for my neighbors.